Welcome to Guns and Gear Network, everyone. Appreciate you tuning in today. Wanted to bring you this range report about the Primary Arms 4x14 ACSS reticle scope that I recently bought and I did a review on not too long ago. And I took it to the range today and I wanted to show you some results and kind of discuss my thoughts on it. The scope is awesome. It performed excellent. I was able to dial it in fairly quickly. And it was a little bit of a learning curve trying to shoot with this style reticle compared to what I'm traditionally used to, which is either MRAD or MILDOT type scope, or even just a standard crosshair style scope. Because this design is a little bit, it's not so much that it's hard to get used to, it's just trying to figure everything out and looking at it and so forth. But the main thing was, I was at 100 yards trying to get it zeroed and getting used to shooting off of that chevron tip. And let me tell you, once you figure it out and everything else and you trust this scope and you've got a excellent gun, which I do, it'll put them where you want them every time. I was just amazed, to be honest with you. I was a little amazed at the scope. I was a little amazed at the rifle itself, which this rifle's always been a real super shooter, so really glad to have it. But let's just take a look. I've got it's going to be a little shaky, but I'm just going to kind of show you a few things here. If you look, jagged hole. Now I've got some flyers and stuff because I was playing around with this thing in general trying to sight it in, so some of this doesn't look exactly great, but see this right here, I mean, that's probably 6-7 shots, all of them touching at 100. You know, if I really concentrated and wanted to put one in the bullseye, this was like I was just doing a bunch of strings of shots and I let my barrel cool down and I shot and wanted to see if I could hit it in the bullseye. Bam, there it went. This other shot here was interesting. I was trying to hit the 7, and if you look, I couldn't have shot any better than that. And essentially I just put the chevron tip on it and hit it. So that's the thing, you got to look, because that chevron is very small. So the tip of the chevron is 100 yards where you'd zero, and the bottom of it would be at a 200-yard shot. So, and it's very tiny, so you have to kind of pay attention where that tip is. That's how precise this thing is. But if you look at this one up here, I think that's 3 shots. Look here, you know, I tried aiming for the 9. If you see some of these random shots, like I tried hitting the 9. Here I tried hitting the 8. Here I tried hitting the 9. Then I was just doing a basic, you know, center shot like that. But I'm super impressed. Matter of fact, this right here was my original when I first got the scope on and got to the range and everything. These right here are my first 3 shots until I moved it. This is from just a basic zero that I did, a bench zero with a bore sighter, and this right here got me on paper, obviously, and then I moved it over here. This was my 4th shot that I knew where to dial it in at, and this right here was let's see, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shots out of the first shooting of the thing. I take that back. It was here, then I moved it here, and I knew I didn't move it far enough, and then I moved it to here, which is a little too far, and moved it to here. And then you see these last 3 shots in that first initial sighting in are all touching right there at the X. So then I got to playing around with it, you know, again, trying to shoot over here, hit the 9, hit the 7, things like that, and just started messing around with it a little bit, just kind of playing around. But like I said, it was a situation where I said, you know, I'm going to try hitting the bullseye and just concentrate on it, and I just kind of slowed everything down, got right behind the gun, and squeezed one off and put it right there. So yeah, and then like this one up here, it's a little high and right as far as the bullseye goes, but you know, like I said, it's amazing. I was super impressed. Matter of fact, when I was at the range, it's a public range. I say public, it is private, so it's a membership range, but it's not private land as far as, like, you know, where I would go that I own or something. So yeah, there was actually one guy that came in later in the evening, sitting beside of me, had just set up, and he had the exact same scope, and he was bragging on how much he likes his. So if you guys are considering buying one of these, I would highly suggest you do that, because, and by the way, I knew the measurements of this target, and it worked out perfect as far as I could. Obviously, I was a known distance, but just kind of playing around with the scope and trying to figure out distances, everything matched up. Even the round circles in there, as far as that's a 10-inch circle on that target there, and it matched up perfect to tell me that I was definitely at 100 yards, which I already knew that, but it was kind of neat to see that it actually played out in the scope the way it was supposed to. So that way you have a known distance, you have a known circle that's supposed to be at 100 yards, and a known 10-inch round circle, and it fit perfect all the way across the board to let me know that I was definitely at 100 yards. But anyway, guys, appreciate you tuning in. Again, I can't speak highly enough of the scope and everything. It performed excellent, and I highly recommend, if you're considering a scope, I would at least try this for the money. They sell on the secondary market. I don't think you would sell it if you get it, but they sell on the secondary market pretty easy, so you should be able to get rid of it if for some reason you didn't like it or whatever. But anyway, guys, appreciate you tuning in. If you got any questions, post those below. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up. It's down there in that section. Also down there in the section is the share button. Hit that share button. That helps us get the word out about Guns and Gear Network and the products that we review here. And anyway, guys, appreciate you tuning in. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Bring another video shortly. Have a great day.